Chief Deputy Whip, Senator Greg Dolezal, introducing legislation this week to establish a special committee to look into this Fani Willis situation as well. And here to weigh in on all of these rapidly evolving details in this scandal is another Georgia State Senator, Colton Moore. Welcome.
No, thank you so much for having me. I mean, winner, winner, Georgia chicken dinner. We've been calling for a special session for 5 months to investigate Fani Willis. Here we are, finally in session, week 3. Remember, we used to always hear we don't have enough votes. Well, guess what? We've got 30 signatures on this resolution. Hopefully, it'll be on the floor tomorrow or Friday, and it will launch a committee that will have subpoena power. Bring Fani Willis in, have her raise her right hand, and testify before the committee. What we've been after the entire time. I couldn't be more excited.
Yeah.
Well, Colton, you're too kind there. I mean, but really, you were the first person to call for an investigation into Fani Willis months ago. In fact, you wrote a letter to Governor Brian Kemp calling for an emergency session to investigate and possibly impeach Fani Willis for improperly targeting Donald Trump. And then you were widely ridiculed for it. I would imagine now that this is kind of coming full circle, you're having a "I told you so" moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, at one point they were calling me the Rhino Wrangler, and it looks like the rhinos have finally been wrangled because they're on board. I mean, we saw the smoke 5 months ago. We knew there was fire. Now people are starting to see the fire, and hopefully we get Fani Willis removed.
Yeah, we've all been praying for that. And just, props to you because you've been hammered hard. But I want to talk more about this special committee that Senator Dolezal introduced. So tell us, how exactly would this work and how likely is it? Again, it looks like it's going to head that way, but tell us how this whole thing would come about.
The Senate inherently has subpoena power, right? The ability to call someone in and have them testify. It's been decades since we have flexed this authority, but now that we're flexing the authority, then she has to come in. If she doesn't show up, she'll be held in contempt of the Senate. It'll be just like being held in contempt of court, which you go to jail for that. The thing is, we can only use this power, though, while we're in session. So we do have to work fast. And I have full confidence in Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. Give kudos to him. In addition to Senator Greg Dolezal, Senator Beach, Senator Tillery, Senator Brass, all these folks who worked really hard on getting this put together. So, ultimately, if she's removed, the charges still stay, and then it'll be up to any other prosecutor in the state to volunteer their own time to continue this prosecution, which I would hope and I would doubt that would happen. Very similar to how Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, remember, he was going to be number 20 in this indictment, but then he was able to prove to the judge that there was some conflict there. And then the prosecutorial counsel, not to be confused with the commission, said, is there any other prosecutor in the state who would like to take this case? No other prosecutor has stepped forward. The 19, including Donald Trump, that would be the same will.
Yeah, this could end up the whole thing could end up blowing up. But speaking of, I mean, she's really feeling the heat right now. You have members of Congress even looking into Fani's alleged corruption. Marjorie Taylor Greene sent a criminal referral to Brian Kemp and the Attorney General Chris Carr. But so far, they are refusing to act. In fact, while all of this was blowing up here in Georgia, Kemp was across the pond. He was over in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum, rubbing elbows with global elites. So I want to place some sound for you. Listen to his reaction here when he's asked about Fani Willis by a Bloomberg reporter. Listen.
But do you think Willis should be removed?
Well, I wouldn't be able to speak to that because I haven't seen the evidence. But I think at the very least, if the accusations are true, it is very troubling. And I feel certain that the judge will rule in the right way to make sure that, President Trump and anybody else is being treated fairly.
What do you make of that, Senator?
Well, I mean, I'm just glad he spoke about it. He's been ignoring the cameras and ignoring the questions for a long time. I mean, when I was calling for a special session, he was saying absolutely no way. Fani Willis has done absolutely nothing wrong. You remember I said it's not to speak is to speak. And right now he's supporting Fani Willis. He could have taken action long ago and has refused to. And I think primarily it's because he doesn't like President Donald Trump.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask you, because the Rhino establishment came pretty hard on you going against this effort. Kemp, again, he's at the Globalist Economic Forum, not really representing, I would say, the MAGA base. Let me just ask you flat out, is he a rhino?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. A sweaty rhino.
Sweaty rhino. We had to add in that adjective. Thank you very much. But yeah, you must, again, though, going back to Carolyn's point, feel vindicated because you had so many people just hammering you, again, supposed members of your own party, for how dare you have the audacity to suggest that there should be an investigation, let alone a special committee. But, again, she's facing charges for the very thing that she's accusing Trump of doing. And there are multiple indictments against him. Could this help? Let me ask you, if she is found guilty and she is removed from office, could this not, in a way, have a ripple effect on all those other indictments that Trump faces?
Oh, absolutely. And I hope we find information in our investigation that points to what many of us already suspect, and that's that she's really running a RICO scheme herself.
Yeah.
Right? What type of coordination does she have with Jack Smith, with all of the other? I mean, Nathan Wade was going to the White House. I'm pretty sure there was some coordination there. He wasn't going there for a haircut. I know that.
Well, there are expensive haircuts. And how many hours was that again, Carolyn? Was it 16 hours?
Yeah, 2 different days, 8 hours per day with the
Right.
White House. And then he had meetings on top of that with the J6 committee. A lot of people are looking at this case and saying, well, there's no real criminality. It's scandalous. Yeah, she had an affair. But in your investigation, I'm sure, and what you guys are really going to be narrowing in on is there is some criminality if you're taking kickbacks and benefiting financially from the money that you are using for a case, for the prosecution of a case.
Right.
And so I think that's what we really need to get down to the brass tacks there and find out, and also the collusion and the federal money that their office has accepted in order to prosecute this case. Where are all those dollars going? Final thoughts from you, Colton.
I was getting pretty depressed here in the last couple of weeks when this resolution came to me to sign. I slept better all night long, knowing that finally we were on the right track. I mean, we're not finished yet, but this is the first step. We've got to get this investigation rolling, and there's hope for freedom.
Yeah, I love seeing your optimism because I know from when we first talked to you, you were facing a lot of pressure, again, from the rhinos in your party. So
right. And
props
any
to you,
of
it
your
paid
Georgia
off.
listeners, tell your Georgia listeners, thanks for calling your state senators and demanding they take action.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, Colton, and please keep us posted.
Yes, please do.